I caught my girlfriend at my neighbor's, and it was even worse than I imagined. Everything collapsed for me in one incident. I'm 19, living with my roommate. Let's call her Ashley. She's 20, in a small two-bedroom apartment near our campus. We've been friends since sophomore year of high school. We weren't super close back then, but got along well enough. So when we both ended up at the same college, splitting rent seemed like a smart move. Our place is pretty basic: two bedrooms, a shared bathroom, a cramped kitchen, and a living room where our secondhand couch barely fits. The walls are thin, the water pressure's terrible, and the upstairs neighbors yell like they're bowling at 2 a.m., but it's close to campus, and that's what matters most. When we moved in about 8 months ago, things were fine. Ashley and I had similar schedules, split chores fairly evenly, and respected each other's space. I'm not saying we were perfect roommates. Sometimes I'd forget to take out the trash when it was my turn, and she'd leave hair in the shower drain, but we managed. Then she started dating Jake. He's 22, they met at some party I skipped because of homework. Suddenly he was all she could talk about. Jake this, Jake that. I was happy for her. My own relationships haven't exactly worked out, so seeing her excited about someone was nice. I remember the first time she brought him over. It was supposed to be a roommate dinner, but she texted me last minute asking if Jake could join. I said sure, even though it annoyed me a bit that she'd changed plans without much notice. I figured I should meet the guy she was so into. Jake showed up wearing this goofy cap indoors. Who does that? And brought a six-pack of craft beer I'd never heard of. For the first 20 minutes, he explained why it's better than regular stuff, like I was supposed to be impressed. He seemed okay, just a little full of himself. He complimented my cookies, which was nice, I guess. At first, Jake came by maybe once or twice a week. We'd watch a movie in the living room, or cook dinner together. He seemed decent, said hi when he saw me, even helped us hang some shelves when our DIY attempt went south. I didn't really get to know him since I was usually studying in my room or at the library, but he didn't bug me. The walls are thin, so I'd sometimes hear them laughing or talking, but it wasn't a big deal. I'd just turn up my music or put on headphones. Sure, I'd hear other stuff too, but that's life with a roommate. We're all adults here. Then things shifted. It started slow. He'd stay over more often. Then his toothbrush showed up in our bathroom, followed by some of his clothes taking up space in our tiny shared closet. Before I knew it, he was there almost every night, using our shower, eating food I'd bought, blasting video games in the living room until 3 a.m., acting like he lived here. I started noticing little things disappearing. My good phone charger mysteriously ended up in Ashley's room. The fancy coffee I splurged on was suddenly almost gone when I'd barely touched it. One time, my favorite mug was left in the sink with something dried inside, looked like noodles, which I don't even eat. Worst of all, he wasn't pitching in a cent for rent, utilities, or groceries. At first, I tried to stay chill. I get it. Relationships are exciting. You want to spend time together. But after a couple months of this nonsense, I started getting annoyed. Our electric bill shot up, probably from his gaming gear. Water usage spiked, and grocery costs nearly doubled. This guy had found himself a cozy spot to crash. Our roommate nights vanished. I'd heat up microwave meals in my room while they took over the kitchen and living room. I'd come home after a long day of classes, and there's Jake, sprawled on the couch, watching sports or gaming, his shoes on the coffee table, empty snack bags all around. Half the time Ashley wasn't even there. She'd be at class or work, and he'd just hang out in our apartment like it was his personal lounge. One morning when Jake wasn't around, I brought it up with Ashley. I mentioned that since he's here so often, maybe he could chip in for utilities or groceries. She got defensive right away, saying he's just visiting and it's not a big deal. Really? Food and bills are a big deal. She claimed he barely uses electricity, which was total nonsense. I dropped it to avoid a fight, but it kept eating at me. A few weeks later, I tried again. Look, if we're splitting costs evenly, why am I covering your boyfriend too? I showed her utility bills from before he started staying over. Compared to now, just the electric was up by about $40. I didn't want to seem petty, but I'm a broke college student. Every dollar counts. She reluctantly agreed he could maybe help out a little, but she never followed through. Things just got worse. Now his gaming console was a permanent fixture in our living room. He'd invite friends over while Ashley was at class, eat our food and leave a mess he never cleaned up. They were so loud I couldn't focus on my schoolwork, even with my door closed and music playing. He used my expensive shampoo without asking, left the cap off, and it spilled everywhere. At some point, I thought, maybe I should just move out. 3 months is too much, honestly. By the second month, when nothing changed, I could have grabbed my stuff and left. I found another place, moved in with someone else, and eventually ended up in a dorm. Enough was enough. It wasn't fun. I started hiding my nice toiletries in my room. Ridiculous, right? I shouldn't have to hide my own stuff in my own apartment. He even had the nerve to complain about the Wi-Fi speed and suggest we upgrade, like I'd pay more for his gaming habits. The living room turned into a frat house, empty pizza boxes on the coffee table, beer cans everywhere, controller cords tangled up, and this weird smell I couldn't quite place, but definitely didn't like. I started spending more time at the library, or a friend's place just to avoid the mess. One day I came home, and Jake had rearranged our furniture to optimize his gaming setup. He shoved the bookshelf into a corner and pushed the couch against the wall. When I asked why he thought he could move stuff in our apartment without asking me, he shrugged and said it looked better this way. Ashley backed him up, saying it opened up the space. I felt like I was living in some bizarre alternate reality. It hit a breaking point when I got home from a late study session. Jake and 3 of his buddies were sprawled out in the living room, empty pizza boxes, beer cans everywhere, blasting some shooter game at full volume at 1 a.m. Ashley was asleep in her room, oblivious. I had class at 8 a.m. and just wanted to sleep. I asked them please keep it down, and one of Jake's friends had the gall to say, "Relax, we're almost done with this round." They barely turned it down, and I heard them snickering about me as I went to my room. I was fuming but too exhausted to argue. The next day I sat Ashley down and told her straight up that Jake either needs to start paying his share or stop basically living here. I didn't want to come off as mean though. Maybe I should have just walked away and left her to deal with the bills and her boyfriend. But it wasn't fair that I was practically funding his lifestyle. I explained I signed up to live with her, not her and her boyfriend, especially when she's not even around, which made me uncomfortable. She seemed surprised I was upset, apologized, and said she'd talk to him. She promised they'd be more considerate, and Jake would chip in for groceries and utilities. I thought that might settle it. For a few days, things seemed better. Jake wasn't there every night, and when he was, they kept it quiet. Ashley even bought toilet paper once. Wow, impressive. I started thinking maybe we could work it out. But nope, it fell apart. One evening, I was making a sandwich in the kitchen when Jake came out, grabbed a beer. My beer, by the way, leaned against the counter and just stared at me. It was awkward, and the silence creeped me out, so I said something casual like, "How's it going?" That's when he launched into the speech about how he's thinking of moving in officially since he's here so much anyway. He said it'd be more efficient for everyone. I was caught off guard and mumbled something vague, but inside I was freaking out. I'd never want to live with this guy full time. Fast forward to last week. I was heading to an evening study group when Jake cornered me in the kitchen, literally standing between me and the door, arms crossed, looking all serious. I thought maybe Ashley had talked to him, and he'd apologize or offer to pay. Boy, was I wrong. He said he wanted to test me to see if I'd be a good fit to live with permanently. I was stunned and asked what he meant. He said if I wanted him to pay rent, I'd have to prove I could handle living with someone like him. Then he pulled out his phone and showed me a legit list of rules he expected me to follow if he moved in. A list. Here's the gist. Do my share of cooking. I already cook for myself while he eats our food without contributing. No bringing guys over. I'm single, but why's that his business? Respect his gaming time by keeping the Wi-Fi free for his streams. Clean the bathroom weekly. I already do. Don't use the living room when he has guests. Keep quiet during the day, because he sometimes sleeps till noon. Get his permission before inviting friends. Don't use the washer on weekends because that's his laundry time. Get his approval for any new furniture or decor in shared spaces. It went on, each point more absurd than the last. He even had the nerve to say I needed to earn his trust after showing him hostility. Hostility? You mean asking him to respect my space and pay his share? I laughed in his face and told him there's no way he's moving in. I said if he wants to live here, he'd have to pay a third of everything, follow our existing apartment rules, and actually clean up after himself for once. He turned red and stormed out. I thought that was it, but it got worse. The next day, Ashley confronted me. Turns out Jake fed her some twisted version of our talk, claiming I was rude and unwelcoming when he just wanted to discuss moving in. She said he was testing the waters, and I should have been more open to it. Ashley said she and Jake had been talking about living together for a while, and since our lease renewal was coming up in a few months, they figured it'd be the perfect time. She never once thought maybe she should have checked with me first. You know, her actual roommate who's on the lease. Then she hit me with something that really stung. She accused me of being jealous because I'm single and suggested I was trying to sabotage their relationship. She said I'd been difficult ever since she started dating Jake, even hinting I might have a thing for him. Seriously, a thing. The only thing I feel is wanting him to stop using my stuff and pay his share. She went as far as saying that if I can't be supportive, maybe she should find a new roommate who'll respect her relationship. I was floored. Ashley and I had been friends for years, and now she's siding with this guy over me. She doesn't even see how obnoxious he is. I tried explaining my side from the start, but she wouldn't listen, just kept parroting the same nonsense. Jake probably fed her. The next few days were super awkward. Ashley and I barely spoke, and when Jake came over, he'd shoot me these smug looks like he'd won something. I started spending even more time out of the apartment, crashing at friends' places, or staying late at the library, until they were asleep. What's even more frustrating is that some of our mutual friends got dragged into it. Ashley must have talked to them because a few of her friends messaged me, calling me selfish and controlling. One even said I should be grateful. Jake sometimes helps around the place. Help? He hung one shelf months ago. Another friend tried convincing me splitting rent 3 ways is always better, so I should thank Jake for offering to move in. Except he didn't offer to pay a full third, he wanted a discount since he'd share a room with Ashley, so he'd get all the perks of living here for less than me. How's that fair? I tried talking to other friends, but most are Ashley's too, so they either take her side or stay neutral. Only one friend fully backs me and thinks Jake's a total jerk. At least someone sees it clearly. I think it's insane. So I'm the bad roommate for not letting my roommate's boyfriend move in after his ridiculous test and wanting him to pay his fair share, if he's here all the time. Just in case, I'm recording this video the same day because tomorrow, well, technically today, I'm invited to a birthday party. I didn't want to flake and leave you guys without a video, so I'm filming ahead. If anything's off, don't throw slippers at me. Update 1. Hey everyone! It's been a wild ride since my first post. I wanted to give an update because a ton has happened. I can't believe this story got so much attention. I just needed to vent. But I guess a lot of people have dealt with awful roommate behavior. Thanks to everyone who commented. It helped me see things in a whole new light. Honestly, I didn't realize how much Jake and Ashley were messing with me until I read your thoughts. I thought they were my friends, but now I see how manipulative and toxic they really were. Some of you said I was too nice, and looking back, yeah, probably. I kept making excuses for Ashley because we'd been friends so long, but that doesn't justify how she treated me. Maybe I was scared of confrontation, or maybe I didn't want to believe someone I saw as a friend could do this. Probably the latter. If she just wanted to avoid conflict, she'd have grabbed her stuff and left, not dragged this out. For those asking if I tried talking to them both, yes, I did. The day after my post, I suggested we all sit down to hash out the housing situation. Ashley seemed hesitant but agreed. Jake flat out refused, saying it's only about the leaseholders and I was attacking him or something. Real mature. So Ashley and I talked alone, and I laid out my concerns again, showed her utility bills, grocery receipts, even pics of the mess Jake left. I'd started snapping photos because I was so done. I thought hard evidence might make her get it, but she got defensive again, saying I was threatening their relationship, and I should be more flexible. When I brought up Jake's test and his rule list, she claimed he was joking and I took it the wrong way. Said he has a weird sense of humor you need time to get used to. Except he wasn't laughing when he showed me that list. He was dead serious. Maybe I just didn't want to admit I had no friends, but with friends like these, who needs enemies? It still hurts to realize this. I've cried a lot, but tears don't change anything. It's been an emotional few days. So sorry for the rant, answering some questions. Yes, the lease is just me and Ashley. Jake's not on it. Yes, I've documented everything. No, I haven't talked to the landlord yet. They're hard to reach, managing like 20 properties and barely responding to maintenance requests, let alone roommate drama. Since my post, things got worse. Jake went full victim mode, telling Ashley's friends I was trying to kick him out of his girlfriend's place. He painted me as some controlling, jealous freak who can't handle his straightforward personality. Yeah, right. My apartment, get lost. Ashley's eating it up, defending him, saying I'm overreacting and stirring up drama. Last weekend was especially bad. Jake decided to throw a little party at our place without even asking me. I got back from my parents' place, and found about 15 people crammed into our tiny living room. Music blaring, alcohol everywhere, total chaos. Someone spilled red wine on our carpet. Cigarette butts were scattered on the balcony, where we're not even allowed to smoke, and the bathroom was a disaster. The next day, I complained to Ashley, and she acted like I was being unreasonable for not wanting strangers in the apartment without a heads up. She said it's her place too, and she can invite friends whenever she wants. Except a lot of those friends weren't even hers. They were Jake's buddies. I'd never seen before. I spent 3 hours cleaning up their mess, because neither Ashley nor Jake bothered to lift a finger. I had to buy carpet cleaner for the wine stain with my own money. When I asked Ashley to cover it, she rolled her eyes and said, "It's just a few bucks, why are you so petty?" The other day I came home and saw Jake sprawled on our couch, playing games on the TV, eating food I'm pretty sure I bought, acting like he owns the place. When I walked by, he barely acknowledged me, just smirked like he knew it got under my skin. I went straight to my room because I didn't want to give him the satisfaction of seeing me upset. Now I keep all my food in my room. Ridiculous, since we don't have a mini fridge, so it's just non-perishables. I got a mesh bag for my toiletries, and started tracking when I use certain things to see if they've been touched while I'm out. I know it sounds paranoid, but I'm fed up with my stuff disappearing, or being used without permission. The worst part? I've started noticing how much Jake controls Ashley. She believes him unconditionally, and now looks at me like I'm the enemy. "Your attitude's making it hard for us to feel comfortable in our home," she snapped one evening. "Our home, it's 50% mine, but suddenly I'm the unwanted guest. Now every decision she makes has to go through him, even the little stuff." "Want to grab coffee between classes?" I asked the other day. "It used to be our tradition." "I need to check with Jake, see if he needs the car," she replied. Since when does he dictate her schedule? Since when do her things prioritize him? Ashley used to be so put together driven, but now she's skipping classes for him. "It's just one class, no big deal." She'd brush it off. I tried talking to her, reminding her how she used to be independent, confident, not letting anyone walk all over her, but she just accused me of being controlling. Seriously, now she's his personal cheerleader, defending every move he makes. Some people told me to be careful. I didn't think Jake would get physical, but after he cornered me in the kitchen and handed me that list of rules, I realized anything's possible. I started locking my door when I leave or go to bed, made copies of the lease, bills, and dropped them off at my parents' place. I wrote to the landlord. The lease clearly states a guest can't stay longer than a week, without approval. Jake's been here for months, not paying a dime. Meanwhile, I've been looking for new places to live. A friend offered me a spot if things get unbearable. It all fell apart when I found out Jake used my laptop without asking. He needed to send a resume. His broke. Ashley said casually. No apology, no hint she thought it was wrong. I called the landlord, and to my surprise he took it seriously. Jake's breaking the rules. He either gets on the lease and pays, or gets out. A few days later an official notice arrived. Ashley stormed into my room, waving the paper. "You went behind my back. You're ruining my relationship." I stayed calm and said the lease is clear. He pays or he leaves. She stormed out and vanished for a few days, probably staying with Jake. I enjoyed the peace. Why didn't I do this sooner? I moved the furniture back to how it was before him, changed the Wi-Fi password. I pay for it, so it's fair. When Ashley came back, she was different. "Can we talk?" she asked quietly and apologized. In those few days, she saw the real Jake. When she told him to move in officially and pay his share, he flipped out. "I shouldn't have to pay to be with my girlfriend," he yelled. Accused her of choosing me, rummaged through her phone. Turns out he had his own apartment but barely stayed there to dodge rent. His roommates hardly knew him. He was using our place as a free hostel. Ashley dumped him, thank goodness. But Jake didn't give up. One night he showed up drunk, banging on the door, shouting I had to call the cops. After that he disappeared. Rumor has it, he got evicted for unpaid rent and moved back with his parents. Ashley and I are slowly rebuilding our friendship. She's becoming that smart, independent girl again, not letting anyone manipulate her. Our lease is up soon and we're thinking of renewing, but I'm keeping a backup plan just in case. P.S. Thanks to everyone who supported me. Without you, I might still be stuck in that nightmare. Here's a final story. I spend a ton of money on my boyfriend, and it's never enough. I'm 25, he's 30, we've been together over a year. He stays over 3 or 4 nights a week, comes after work and leaves in the morning. He rents a place with friends, but I've noticed he practically moving in with me. staying longer and more often. I cook for myself, he eats it all. I'm fine with buckwheat all week. But he needs meat. Variety. He uses my shower gels, doesn't buy his own. My expenses have more than doubled. I used to spend 30,000 on food. Now it's 70,000. He says, "What? You can't spare it? You're stingy with shampoo." It's not about the shampoo. It's my money slipping away. I feel like the guy in this relationship, carrying a family, and I'm not even his wife. He never brings food, eats mine, doesn't buy anything, and doesn't even get me gifts. Why do some girls get flowers and attention while others get nothing? I don't know how to fix this. I'm tired of feeding him. Maybe I should change the locks and my phone number. That'd do it. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe.